Okay. Well, here we are after weeks of not of hiatus because we were at Tiger Sprint. It's a
That was
Nix
only 1 week.
hackathon.
But I've been nonstop travel. Not home
This
yet.
Tiger Sprint. That was super fun.
It was a great time. My first time meeting a Nixer in person.
The first time meeting a Nixer was meeting a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I met more than one.
So here's a repo. I figure out. I polished my cute browser story.
Oh, all right.
They have a feature where. How did this happen? They have a feature where it literally says tabs are windows. So it kind
Oh,
of
okay.
does away with
Yeah,
anything that would be open in a tab opens in a window, and it's what I was looking for.
nice.
It's what I was looking for.
Because you've already got tabs in your window manager. So
Right,
why have
right,
two layers of tabs?
right. I even have fancy features. It's the same. It's the same feature set, right? It's tabs are like a reimplementation of window management.
I mean, this is what I say about everyone who wants to use Tmux on their desktops. It's like you
It's,
brought if you don't already have a good window manager, you should find one and solve the problem there. So
that's
I'm
right.
very
That's right.
supportive of this. You are making me realize I have nothing like tabs in my own window manager. And
And then if I have, so I have DuckDuckGo here, I have Riverside over there, and then I can use some, whatever pluggable thing I managed to set up for my window manager, like this. I can search windows by like DuckDuckGo, and oh, well, that's the currently active one. So
yeah.
let's, big pipe, boom, there.
And okay, so the UI just changed in a fairly noticeable way for me there. Was that a different desktop? Were you on desktop 2 and you just moved to desktop 1?
No, same desktop.
Because I thought we had 5, what I'm going to call tabs, a moment ago.
They're nested. It's a group. So this is
Oh,
you use the mouse for this. This is like the left. We are now in the top level is the workspace.
got
It
it.
has 3 tabs.
Okay,
1, 2, 3.
I
And
see.
nested in the third one are another two
Got it.
tabs. So it's like a
Oh, okay. I see. I thought that was just like the tabs wrapping, but no, that's an actual hierarchical thing going on.
yes.
Got it. But then if you want to do tiling, I've seen you do that as well.
Here, I just turned this tab group into a tile group,
Got it. Okay.
or this way.
All right. And so for you, then you also have desktops as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's another desktop, number
Got it.
2
So the
here.
tabs are kind of like and I guess they go arbitrarily deep. It's not just like you have a
Yeah.
top level of tabs. Okay.
Yep. It's just
Yeah.
all the way down.
That's like a
You know?
whole concept that just doesn't exist for me. For me, it's like every desktop is just tiled stuff, and if I want something hidden, I have to put it on another desktop. Uh, I mean,
And this
I don't know what Xmonad's actually capable of. I'm sure it's capable of anything, but the way I use it, I should say.
another tab group, and here's another tab group, and I can go up, up, navigation, when it gets complex, navigation gets kind of
Yeah,
all of this takes some practice, but this really, I think this really helps, because if you just want to go somewhere, like take me somewhere, you don't want to navigate the hierarchy. You just want to kind of look at something
right.
and say, this is a Zish PR tracker. I want to go there.
Yeah. Oh, hardly related. Not even related at all. I'm subscribed to Alacrity releases, so I see the release notes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What do you have? What's new?
no, wait, was it that or was it fish? I can't even remember. But I learned that there's some standard-ish thing around two things. One that we
Mm.
talked about before, which is terminals advertising their current window, their current directory, sorry, in some
Right.
semi-standard way, like some escape sequence, which uh, is that did I see it in the fish release notes? Is that where I saw it?
Oh, wait, does this happen? Fish is now Rust?
Yes, the Nix packages PR
February
has not landed
27.
yet.
Okay, yeah, as soon as it's in Nix, I'm going to give this a try.
I think these release notes might say something about these two features, or it was the Alacrity release
What
notes. I
do I?
can't remember.
Oh, I can.
Try CWD or PWD or working directory.
PWD prompt. Prompts which display the working directory using the prompt PWD function
No, not that.
correctly.
Let me see. I might have read this on my phone. I have this habit of just leaving things open on my phone.
Here's Alacrity 15.0.15.1.
Where did I see this? Maybe I sent myself an email. I hate this feeling of not.
Let's you'll probably see it again and
Yep,
send me a message.
I'll let you know. But the two features, one was about the terminal or the shell advertising the current working directory, which is useful for stuff like opening a new window and having it open in the same directory. And then the other thing was about your shell, so like fish or whatever, advertising like with escape sequences. This is where the prompt is, this is the command, and this is the output of the command, which if your terminal emulator understands those sequences. Oh, it was WESTerm. There was a WESTerm release. And WESTerm understands these escape sequences. So it can provide like keyboard shortcuts like copy the output of the last command or scroll up to the prompt of the last command or something like that. Or not.
Wouldn't be a fix, would it? This?
Mm, yeah. Maybe it's a thing that the new version of Fish does, which WESTerm understands.
This? The new URL object.
No.
You handle things like percent. That working.
There it is. Improved terminal support. If you go to the Fish 4.0.0 release notes and search for improved terminal support, this is the stuff I was reading. The two bullet points are PWD reporting and why does this look so different? The other one is fish now marks the prompt and command. This is so weird. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Fish now marks the prompt and command output regions, which I thought was cool. I didn't know about this, and sometimes I've run a long command right after running another long command, and I'd like to, just scroll to the command I just ran rather than scrolling up into the previous command. So this sounded pretty cool.
So a terminal can support reading and implementing features.
Yeah, so I think WesTerm maybe supports this, and you can bind some keyboard shortcut to copy the output of the last command or scroll up to the last.
Just scrolling.
Prompt.
Yeah, scrolling, that would be nice.
Yeah, because I often reset my whole terminal before I run a command, just so I can scroll to the top.
What is OSC?
And then I think that's the abbreviation for escape sequences. I don't know what it means. OSC escape sequences. Operating system command control sequences. So it's just a word for maybe a more official term for escape sequences. Or ANSI escape sequences.
Operating system command, the context of terminal type of escape sequence used to send commands to the terminal from an application. These sequences typically start with the escape character, followed by a right square bracket, and they allow programs to instruct the terminal to perform specific actions like setting the window tab, changing colors. But is this type, or is it all types of escape? In this case,
I think those are examples of escape sequences, or things escape sequences can do.
Mark semantic regions in the terminal output, such as start of a prompt, command input, or command output. Where is this guy for this modern? Doesn't have a single universally created upon sufficient documentation, but it's based on a proposal that has been adopted and extended by various terminal emulators. Scattered appears final term project, adoption by tools like iTerm, 2WesTerm, and others. Closest thing to foundational spec comes from a proposal by Per Bothner, the free desktop GitLab under semantic shell integration or prompt making. Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe this will get me off Alacrity, because it probably doesn't support this, and I think WesTerm does.
What would it be? OSC
113?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, getting closed issues. Maybe it does support it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just finding
GitHub
OSC.
search is just searching for OSC. Yeah. Typing visible text to external programs sounds potentially relevant. Like copy the output of the last command.
2018.
Yeah.
113 is an issue here.
Yeah, my God.
Okay, well, let me know what you find out.
Ask for it. Yeah.
Pull this and timer here.
Alrighty.
So make sure that we are dear end. That seems to work. Right, check. I might not have probably don't have the cache. Let me do this. So every time I do this, from you, I've learned that it might end up in a different directory, but it never did in my case. I never
Oh,
experienced that.
it depends on the command you're running, right?
Of course.
And I think
So
it probably does not happen to you because for me, it often gets me when I'm in Vim because Vim is like spawning various, I don't know, LSPs under the hood that hop into random directories.
mm-hmm.
Anyways, I'm glad it's working better for you than me. I need to do something about it.
I don't know if it's working better. I just not have bumped into it.
Or that. Okay, shall we start with this? See what's going on here?
I don't know. It's not blocking us. It's just it's not even software that's in use. So I don't know if we really should spend time on this instead of
Okay.
things we want to make progress on.
And we
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 have
aren't sitting on any
branches, right?
branches, are we? Or are we
We
sitting on a
we,
branch?
we are. We I think we were just
Okay.
about to do Open API now that we have
Yeah,
the dev server.
that sounds right.
We said this is a great place to stop.
Yep.
Okay. One thing I noticed now that this became highlighted red, like my first
Oh
seems
yeah,
like
it
my
wants your
first Qt
attention.
browser, and I think it was a result. So let me like dismiss it and then go back here to like some. What I did was gh repo view with web, and I think what happens is that Qt browser is configured properly to, tabs are windows, but
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, oh, that wasn't in the correct directory. For some reason, it goes through one window, makes it ping the
Uh,
window manager.
oh no, that's annoying.
That yes,
Yeah. Hmm. Yes, that's some detail about how Qt browser does that. Yeah.
I actually before I learned of that feature, that tabs are windows. I actually handle that myself um, in a different way, where it's like an additional argument to Qt browser that the target be a new window, and I think that might have avoided this problem.
Sorry, that
But
might have what?
avoided this problem. Let
Okay.
me just make a to-do for myself to report this. Report issue with where Qt browser tabs are windows. Uh, I don't know. Recipient window panes WM whatever. Okay.
All right.
So that the branch is Open API. I don't know that it's based properly. Let's see. Log. It's not. So let's do the dance. mob start and mob done, git stash, git rebase man, git push, git start, git stash pop.
Okay.
Both modified cargo lock. Just going to restore cargo lock.
Sure.
Git check out the branch name first, right? So that would be main cargo lock. Is that what we want to do?
Maybe. I guess it depends on if your main is up to date. If you don't want to worry about that, you could do origin main, maybe.
My main is up to date.
Then we're good.
But is this what we want to do? I think so. We are rebasing on main.
Yeah.
So the cargo
Seems
toml
fine.
changes will like apply to this cargo lock.
Yeah.
So that's happening, and now a cargo something, anything, would update the cargo lock.
Yeah.
That's obviously unfinished work, but what we care about is this mob next.
Okey-dokey. Okay. And we'll see how my upload is doing. I don't know. Wow. Things have gone sepia for me. I'm getting some mouse trails.
That's exactly what I'm seeing as well.
Okay. How bizarre.
See that?
Well, it's live
Okay.
again. Okay.
This is when I full screened, but I should full screen only after you share screen, and
Okay.
that's not a problem. Okay.
All right. Get fetch origin.
Billy Idol.
Start. Here we go. Okay. Open API, mob. Start. We watched the Bob Dylan documentary the other night. That was fun. Right. So we have run API, and we'll get to see what that does with the state of the code in this repo. Who knows? Oh, you were commenting on my MPD status. All right. And then, while this is going, let's try to remember where we left things off. Huh? Get diff open API. Okay. Let's do a lock file. That's fine. Surprise there. Okay. So all that changed in API was we had a poem open API, which makes sense.
Makes sense.
And then here we are in the actual API implementation, and we finding that API service and a server. Already looks a little weird, like a hard-coded port. That
What is it to do
name
there?
might, yeah. So I think that's kind of where we were like, we'd really love to see what this stuff does, and it's sort of where we left things. And then here, health check must have made it into API service, and presumably this landed API did as well. And we got this /Swagger.
So
Yeah,
from
this is going to be a
the
mess.
top, that kind of the API service swallows all of the. It becomes the single endpoint, whatever at receives.
I'm gonna guess it turns into a bunch of like endpoints.
Maybe
I
the
think
endpoint
this
is the
is
nested thing.
yeah, yeah, maybe it's a recursive concept. I guess I would think of an endpoint as a concrete uh,
Well, the word end makes
URL.
it sound
Yeah,
pretty.
and exactly. uh, but yeah, I don't know what their terminology is. I don't even know if endpoint is a word in the poem universe, or if that's just a word you and I are using.
Well, in the editor, you could see the type for that at receives.
Oh, yeah, right. Endpoint, box endpoint. Okay, that is definitely a word in the poem universe. Yeah, and then we made an effort to like annotate things. So I think okay, we apparently didn't get that done yet. So error reporting is probably not right. So tests are probably failing. Here's a new test. Who knows? So yeah, it would certainly be exciting to just see this thing in action. Is this gonna keep us from running the code? Hopefully not, right?
It is API. So the API crate that fails.
Yeah, but is dead code? Okay, apparently it didn't stop us from starting it.
Oh, that's an Nix-like check. That's where dead code is turned into an error. Warnings are escalated in Nix in the build
Well, this
Nix
is
build.
a cargo test, which I guess is
Oh,
also escalated.
uh, is it? Why would it be?
I don't know. I mean, it kind of makes sense to me that uh, this isn't something that would prevent you from running code. And I could see wanting to be a little stricter when running tests. Like, don't bother running the tests if you've got some stupid code.
I just don't remember. I don't know how to. I don't think I even know how to do that specifically for cargo test.
Hmm.
Maybe
Okay, here we
some
go. The moment
see
we've all
if.
been waiting for.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
all right. That's
What
very
is
exciting.
default? So there's some unnamed thing. It's got named default,
Yeah,
and it has so servers. This supports multiple servers. We have one server.
yeah.
This version. OAS is Open API Spec, perhaps.
That sounds plausible. And there's three major versions of it. Yep,
Okay.
3.1.0. So we're already out of date. And then I guess
And
we
in this
versioned our own
server, we
thing.
have something's called default. I don't know what it is.
It's
Under which
collapsible.
both our endpoints are.
No clue from the meta tags here. Okay.
P, the health check has no parameters. Did we get a response? Failed to fetch.
Yeah,
Network
so
failure. I think
I'm gonna click that
it's
again.
using the like what is it? What address is it really?
HTTP localhost 3000 API.
Oh,
Oh, there's too many APIs in there.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. So that part's right. Slash API.
It's the server
Oh,
that's wrong.
yeah, yeah. Right. Okay. Well, things to figure out. Uh, I have nothing to rotate. I'll just hand it over to you.
I figured out how to control my mouse from NixOS.
Control.
Yeah, like the multiple. It's a gaming mouse. Has multiple
There's like a
settings, like
API
the
for
speed
the
at which it moves. Yeah, there's a
Oh,
daemon that
cool.
knows all the different mouses, and there's this
Nice.
app. I don't even remember what it's called. Something mouse. How do I find something here? I mean, it should. You don't even have a mouse, do you?
I have a mouse pad on my
Viper.
desk at home.
Here's an app,
Hard a name to remember.
and the app knows what mouse I have from
Wow, that's
the
the
daemon.
actual shape of your mouse.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
Amazing.
And I can set the resolutions and assign buttons and other stuff,
Oh.
profiles.
Is this stuff you can also do on the mouse, or you have to
I can
do?
On the mouse. I can switch cycle between the resolutions.
Cool. So, what's your coding resolution?
I have one for everything.
You don't
So
need
this
all
is
the
kind of
dynamics.
redundant. The only reason I have a gaming mouse for is to have the latency and accuracy for gaming. So
Got it.
this will feels nicer in the hand.
Ergonomics are important. What is ret?
That's the service. That's the rat is probably
Like Piper, like
associated,
Pied Piper, getting rid of
and
all
a
the
rat
rats in
is
town.
it's not a mouse. It's a rat.
That's all.
Ever.
All coming together. My brain just sees paper in the context of tech. All I think of is Silicon Valley. Can't
For me,
get the other references.
Piper is somehow bringing a Pied Piper.
Right. Yeah. That's the guy who plays the pipe and gets all the rats to leave town or something.
Okay.
Okay. So let's figure out why it's got that too many slash APIs. Or we can start anywhere.
Yeah, I'll go into the API source lib, and we should understand this server concept, right? In the spec.
Yeah. So I think we can just remove the slash API from there, right?
Let's try that.
Yeah. I think
So
we had no idea what it was supposed to be, and now we know.
but the concept is that servers can have paths.
Yes.
So this is formalism. What is formally our server? Is it at the root? But and also what this is wrong for being hard coded. That's what's wrong here, right? Like this is the user's role to decide what the server is, and then their root is their root, and we will have a root in our dev server usage.
Yes. Okay. So where we spin up the dev server, do we actually already have an environment variable for this? Or we just say the port?
Spin up the dev server.
It'd be in util, maybe dev server?
Server.
Run API?
One,
We say deploy. And I think generally the way
just
that
run
web
it. Well, we should.
applications work, there's usually a separate environment variable for the like, here's how humans are gonna access this thing. And it's not necessarily even the same port you've got specified here, because you might have like a reverse HTTP proxy in front of your API. So this thing might be bound on 3000, but users might access it via 443.
So you're saying it's distinct from.
Yeah. There's like the actually, quote unquote, physically, where is the Rust server listening on the metal that it's deployed to? And then there's the conceptual, how
Inside and
do
outside.
humans, yeah, how do humans access this thing from the outside? And that's a detail that our service doesn't really know about, right? Like it only needs to know when it needs to generate these like absolute URLs for some reason,
But
which
now it
we haven't
does
had
because
to
it.
do up till now.
But now it does because it documents the
Right.
fact.
Yeah. So this is kind of just a change to our API surface area, right? Like we didn't ask our users for this information, and now we need to know this information.
Right. Where are you going to expose this externally?
Exactly.
What is the server URL, like root path?
Right.
Okay. So.
And I don't know if there's a common name for that concept.
Well, I
Rails
bet there is
definitely has a
because
term.
OpenAPI, right? That's what it is. Formalize things.
Well, this concept's more than just OpenAPI, right? It's your service might want to generate absolute links because it's sending emails, and this would be the same concept. It's like the root URL, maybe? Is that what Rails calls it? Root URL?
What do you want me to ask?
Oh, I don't know. I would ask specifically about Rails just to get started with a search term. Like maybe in Ruby on Rails, how do you specify the root URL so that Rails can generate absolute URLs? Host?
Specify the root URL for generating absolute URLs. You need to configure the default URL options or set the host option in your application. This is particularly useful when generating URLs in mailers, background jobs, or any context where the full URL, including the domain, is required. Here's how you can do it. Set default URL options like application configuration. So it's default URL options, host.
Is there an environment variable?
Host and port.
Like this says one, which implies there are others.
Protocol.
Maybe.
Manually specify the host and URL helpers. So that's. I think we should ask a more formal question of the spec. About the spec. Would I have a change here? This change.
Yeah. I guess my point is, it feels like a more general concept than just OpenAPI to me. So which spec are you talking about?
OpenAPI.
Okay.
Well, OpenAPI talks about. You don't think OpenAPI talks about this concept?
You're right. It probably does. Base path. Maybe that's it. All API endpoints are relative to the base URL. Okay. Assuming the base URL of blah, the /users endpoint refers to such and such. So there's server URL. I can't tell what endpoint refers to here. Can you read this ASCII art better than me? Do you think this bit rotted? Like server URL endpoint. These are queried. Yeah, I think this thing got screwed up, right?
Well, the overall length kind of matches. Line 2 matches line 1 in length.
Yeah. No, it's lines 3 and 4 seem to be, right? Like, I'm pretty sure endpoint is this thing. And query parameters is this thing. Server URL.
Server URL is the first. There are 3 things.
And it feels like there are 4 things. Server URL, endpoint, query parameters, and
The query
path.
parameters is easy because,
Yeah, we know what
right?
that is.
Well, sometimes these are query string parameters. Sometimes URLs can have path parameters as well.
I'm not familiar with that. What are
A
path
path
parameters?
parameter, yeah, like we have a path parameter, right? That's a path parameter.
Okay. Yeah, those are like placeholders.
The URL spec says there is this thing called query string, and it has parameters, and that's formalized. But
Yes.
parameters go also in the path, and therefore not. That's makes query parameters ambiguous for me.
Got it.
And the endpoint is certainly not where the v1 ends. It's actually, it should include users, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the pros here, I'm pretty sure means slash
The
users
user's
is
endpoint.
point. And then here they use the term base URL, which does not show up anywhere. This is less than impressive documentation.
It's not meant for humans to read anymore. It's meant for LLM consumption, and then humans are expected to interact with the LLM.
Maybe. I don't know what an LLM would get from this.
Well, LLM considers this and all the questions and answers about this.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyways, I think base URL isn't quite the term we're talking about here because I feel like maybe this is host,
Let's
or we could
continue
just
reading the rest of it.
you can have
You have
multiple servers. So that's the word server, which we do see in our code, right?
and a server has a URL and a description,
Yep.
and in this case, in this example, it's like they're both have the v1 path and different domains and ports, different host is inclusive of host
For
is,
me, this is the host.
yeah, yep, that's host.
And it sounds like maybe what they're saying here is OpenAPI 2 did actually have you structure those 3 things. It was like host, maybe this was base path, and
In
this was scheme.
OpenAPI 3, you use the server's array to specify one or more base URLs for your API.
Yeah.
Is that the same as servers? That's the same as servers. Servers replaces the host,
Yeah.
base path, and schemes keywords used in OpenAPI 2. Each server has an URL and an optional markdown format, awesome markdown. You can also have multiple servers, for example, production and sandbox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this only makes sense in the context of someone like concretely deploying something, whereas you and I think, are trying to take the stance of we're just building an open source server that people would deploy themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So,
One server for Republicans and the other for Democrats.
oh boy.
Because they cannot agree on simple terms. So each one would get served data with the terms that they agree, that they accept.
Oh boy. I hope everybody querying our API gets the same answers.
Server URL format.
Yep.
Server URL format follows. Okay,
Valid
that's
server
a
URLs.
URL. It's just URL, isn't it?
Wait, oh, so we can just do relative then. And we don't have to fuck with any of this. Let's just do slash.
The host can be a name or IP address.
This
A
is perfect
name
for us,
or
right?
IP address. WebSocket schemes also supported. It's shown in the example, but it's not in prose. If the server URL is relative, it is resolved against the server where the given OpenAPI definition file is hosted. More on that below.
That's perfect
No.
for us.
Server URL must not include query string parameters. For example, this is invalid. Of course. Okay.
Oh, and it defaults to / So maybe we can just not specify it. That would be ideal.
Didn't our, if we could have not specified it.
Wouldn't we have not specified it? So
but it just returns self, so in terms of types, it doesn't seem to change.
You think this is just skippable like that?
Let's try.
And then do I have to restart? I don't remember how this even works. Seems like it.
initdb warning enabling something. Oh,
now it doesn't even ask me for a server. It doesn't show me one, which is better.
I mean,
all right.
the reader just assumes that this documents itself, because it's not only the assumption of the reader, it's this feature here of executing, right? That's also affected.
Yeah, and this is great. This does. I mean, this is like not what our users will see. Some nice string if they're accessing it.
This is coming from the browser, right? Like this is JavaScript asking, "Hey, what's the URL this page is on?"
Or it could be rendered on the back end, but yeah, like this information is included in the HTTP request, like right here. Request URL, request headers, host. There it is. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
So the backend can do whatever it wants with that header. She's great. Like for instance, if I change this to what? That doesn't work. But if I do like 127.0.0.1, now these URLs show a lot of clicking to get there, but yeah, there it is. Or yeah, localhost probably also shows yet another thing. Oh. Or I've got a conflict for things listening on port 8080. I have.
Why do you have cups on this port? Cups port is different.
It's because I was debugging the printer server at home for my parents, and I did an SSH port forwarding thing, and it doesn't seem to have gone away.
Just don't forget that you are recording.
Yes. That is so weird. Is this cached? Yeah, that's cached. Okay. That was part of the problem there.
Oh.
So now if I I mean, sorry, that wasn't part of the problem. That was the whole problem. There we go.
Cool.
Yup, looks good. Things are definitely working the way we'd want. Awesome. I will do them up next. Take it away.
Oh, and with Qt browser, remember how many clicks we have to do to share screen? Qt
Yep.
browser is just click the button to share the share screen button in the app, and then
Mm-hmm.
click the thing I want to share, and that's it. Share. Actually, there's an additional like permission prompt, but then it's
Mm-hmm.
up to you if you want to say always, and then you can skip that one.
Oh, nice. So that can be a one-time thing if you want. That's nice.
Menu, build, on. Yeah. I haven't used this enough to remember. What is it, the shortcut for like,
Control-Shift-O.
open. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Control Shift O. Okay.
So my change didn't actually mob next failed for me because I probably forgot to do a mob start. I think it's easier for you to just redo the thing I did.
mhm.
Just delete the call to dot server. Yep. Perfect.
So these are broken somehow. Oh,
I
and
think so.
I've set it up so that E opens up my
Ooh.
my URL for editing in Neovite.
Wow. It's
It does not. It literally does
new
not have its
window that
own.
opened.
Yes, the browser does not have its own editing.
URL bar.
Yeah, you
Amazing.
can type one in, a new one in, or maybe if you like manage to get one from history somehow. But I don't know that there's a way to like.
Oh.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
there's a
pretty
way.
reliant upon history autocomplete.
There is
Maybe I
history
could get
autocomplete
over. Here in Vim
that
or
in like if like I can do open and then I can see history here.
oh, so there is a sorry, what's the editor that doesn't exist?
Editing the current URL.
Oh, I see. You can type in a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Like you okay. Hmm. All right. Cool.
So what path is our docs?
Uh, slash doc slash OpenAPI, I believe. No, slash
Really?
doc slash swagger.
It's not found.
Doc singular, sorry. I mean, we can change it if we want. That's what it is right now.
Well, let's ask. Where's What's the typical path under which Swagger the URL?
Swagger URL? Docs?
Is it?
I have no idea. Yeah. I don't have enough experience to send to check any of this.
What is all this? Oh, Open API, Swagger JSON, or what's this then?
Spring Boot is a Java framework for building websites.
Common setups.
Just like how Fast API is a Python framework for.
So this is, but like, should most common convention, if you're looking for a typical path across frameworks, API docs, or Swagger are widely recognized defaults for the UI. Swagger.json, API Swagger.json, common for the
Swagger.json sounds so weird to me because this isn't
yeah,
called Swagger
that's
anymore.
it's
It's
not.
called Open API now.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not written in the spec where exactly this should be, but that like it should possibly be reachable from the spec. Like, should the spec say this is where it could be
I don't
found?
think the thing we're talking about would even be mentioned in the spec. I think the spec only says what the contents of the JSON are, not what the name of or where the JSON is, much less some UI for displaying the JSON.
Something should link to, you know, like the something should link so that users would be able to find your human readable docs. I see no reason it would not also be in the JSON, in the Open API,
Oh,
because
like there
the
might
open,
be a part in the JSON to say like, hey, this
yeah.
is where you go to see this with some context or some docs about this thing. Yeah, that might exist. Maybe there's a dot well known or something for this, you know?
Can maybe aspect tell uses where find human.
And it's funny because you're talking about, hey, it would be nice if the JSON points the users to this thing. And how are the users even going to find the JSON? Because that's also totally unspecified where it is.
No, the JSON is a well-known location, right? It has to
I
be.
don't I don't think it is.
Well, let's
Well,
answer
what makes you
one
say
question
that?
at a time.
Sure. I was bringing that up as a way to say, hey, the question you're asking might not make sense. But okay, external docs. Maybe that
Right. So
exists.
there's plain text like description. That's fine, right? Like we can do that. There's
Yep.
also external docs. This is the dedicated field in OPI 3 for linking to external documentation can appear at the root level for the entire API within specific operations tags or schemas. It includes a URL required and optional description. So this is definitely, if it's not making it up,
Yep.
where
It might be annoying for us because that probably needs to be an absolute path. Then it might be annoying to generate.
well, it would certainly require us to know, right?
Yeah.
The external.
But I guess let's check if that's not a hallucination before we talk about how
Hmm.
we would do it.
How do we want our? I mean, the entry point to a documentation for a project is typically well, it's not a project, right? It's like it's somewhere in the user's usage of this, they have their users reading something. So I think it's not. We don't need to solve this problem.
I agree. Like, if we wanted to invest in something, I could see a better experience for users being that when they start the server and it prints out a URL for them to go to, for them to, like, I don't know, go to a slash, and slash could say, hey, go here for the docs or something. Because right now, users just see a health check, which when they click on it, it just takes them to a white page, which does not scream success.
That could be changed in this same branch because we're introducing the Open API.
Yeah. I think that would be an improvement, but I don't know. Do we want to do that, or do we want to actually? I think we've broken a bunch of stuff, so should we
Let's put a
try
to
to
do
get
in.
things working? Okay, great. To do, add a home page that
A homepage.
links to the docs.
A
Spider,
homepage. What homepage? Is that?
or I don't know what the word is. Add a
Weren't we talking about something that gets printed or what?
yeah. Well,
There, yeah.
okay, sorry.
Service.
I was suggesting maybe two things, which was add a home page so that if people just go to this because they know the server's running there, or if they just, I often do that. I'm on some page like this and I delete everything to get to the top.
Okay. Okay. That convenience kind of homepage at the root with some text for people.
Yeah, that's what I was proposing. We could just link to the docs here and not, build some little homepage, but
And then that line would say server started on root path.
that line would say what? Sorry?
That ePrint line on line 39
Yes.
would say address and then the root, right?
Yeah, and then we'd
Not the
get
health
to get
check
rid of
path.
this health check path environment, global variable, I guess, which might be nice. Because it
Okay.
looks like we've repeated ourselves here just to even expose that thing.
Okay.
So,
To do is there.
okay. So, the health check doesn't work, huh?
Right.
Oro Ford. Yeah, that seems worth fixing. API service. Do Open API service new. Title Hello World version 1. Did we see Hello World somewhere? Ah, that's that. Shall we just call that PR tracker?
There's a to do.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Open API service. Here we are.
What I find interesting is that if you look at the Open API's service running, it like it makes it seem as if that endpoint is active, right? So there's like some kind of lack of safety here, where this page can document, hey, you have this endpoint, use it, but it doesn't
Yeah,
actually work, but the service is running.
I agree. I am surprised that we were able to get into this state. That is a little disappointing.
Not found.
Yep.
Were not found. No, like stare at the code some more.
Yep. So open API service. And that's it. It's got a new function.
There's a big to do that needs to be all over here, all over the data here. The
All
argument
right.
is
This is not our code. Never mind.
it's not our code.
This is a cargo registry. This is not us.
Okay.
Let me step back a little bit. I assumed this was us. What I actually care about is this API right here. I'm just jumping over that thing. Here we go. All right. So we've got prefix path slash PR slash health check. So why doesn't that work? API v1 health check. Where is it? Ugh, what a pain. And maybe this prefix path is just for documentation and doesn't. It would be nice to get Poem to give us a list of all the endpoints or routes that it supports so we could see where these things are actually getting exposed.
I'm sure there's some kind of debug mode. You're googling as if this is Ruby on Rails.
I am. Alright. Bullshitting. This is um, but
Search the docs instead of the issues.
verbose. Debug.
I don't think this is a text search. I think this search is items.
Okay. Routing. I'll send it over to you.
Perhaps Grok can surprise here. And, like see all one. I bet we could just like debug print the value.
Yeah, maybe. We can get our hands on the routing something data structure.
By the time it so what is this? Is this like one endpoint?
Yeah, that's a confusing. I think that's probably a different use of the word endpoint than we've been using.
Where is where's the actual where's the value and main? This is a lib API main. Okay, acceptor endpoint. This endpoint, right?
Yep.
UBG endpoint as a reference.
All right. Let's see what we see.
It does not implement debug. That won't work. We'd have to go somewhere here. DB pool API service. Perhaps. Well, there's add. You think it's this router, right?
Yep.
Route.
Probably.
Okay. Give me this. UBG. Oops. UBG this.
I mean, that's the same thing,
It
right?
does not implement. Oh, did I just do it from the inside of the function?
Yeah.
Same way. Well, then like this is boxed. Maybe it can wrap around that.
Sure.
No. With.
I mean, the other approach is we take a look at a working OpenAPI example with Poem and compare it to ours and try to spot the differences. Like maybe this prefix path is something that like it was so long ago, but maybe we didn't see that in the example we were copying and we just found that in the docs, thinking it would do what we want. Maybe it doesn't quite do what we want.
This is Poem OpenAPI. OpenAPI, readme. This path, not prefix path. No, this is a path for
Yeah.
our prefix path is on the
Right.
top level attribute on the impl block.
Maybe let's
Impl
start with removing
trait.
prefix path just to eliminate the variables.
Well, then what?
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm.
Then maybe a slash health check.
So now, at least in documentations, it's
Yeah.
not showing up. But it should, that's the only piece that the whole point was to like unify implementation and
Yep.
source of truth for documentation.
And I'm wondering if maybe it's not as unified as we hoped. Like, does slash health check work?
So, like this.
Nope. Does not work. Okay. Where's
API
the health check into?
v1.
no way that works, right? Because the string API v1 doesn't show up in our code anymore.
Yeah.
Same with v1, right?
So where health check is, this is path, and this is supposed to be the prefix path. Back to the docs. This seems like what we're doing.
Yeah.
Except without a prefix path. We want more docs. Where is more docs?
Is it possible that we're actually running, like, can I see our code again? I want to see this landed endpoint. Yeah. So if this thing 404s, can the landed endpoint 404? And would we be able to tell, like, is it at all possible that we're just running the landed endpoint sometimes and getting a 404? Like, could it just be a precedence thing?
That the path is disregarded and we're somehow hitting the wrong endpoint?
Well, I mean, slash endpoint would fit in here. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be an I-32.
Hmm.
But I'm like tempted to just comment that out for a moment and just see if. No. What? Why? Unused import landing. That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, that I don't buy it. Something is funny. Unused should not fail to compile. Something is not as I used to.
Mm-hmm. Well, that didn't make a difference. Doing.
Can we get a list of all the things that can go as arguments to OpenAPI? Including documentation for prefix path?
Be on OpenAPI. Right, and then this is OpenAPI attribute macro.
Mm-hmm.
Prefix for all operation paths. Fog. Response header. Request header. Wait. OAI path method. And then async function. We've got OAI path method. We've got this Clippy unused. Is there any chance that's screwing with it?
Unused async.
Like, is there
No,
any chance?
no. Oh, you mean that the attribute does not apply because there are multiple attributes?
Uh, yep. You know, some of these things are implemented as like AST operations, and it requires it to understand the stuff underneath it or something.
Try commenting that out.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. Not found. Yep. Okay. How do we differ from the quick start? There's a quick start.
We don't have a prefix path. But even without the prefix path, we didn't get any endpoints to work, did we?
We don't have a prefix path?
Sorry, we do, as opposed to the quick start.
This one says nest, and we're using it. Is that anything we need to worry about?
Let's try nest.
Nest.
I think we tried it, didn't we?
I don't remember. Months ago? You remember? Hey, that worked.
Well done.
Jeez. What a pain.
So let's read about the difference between these.
Add an endpoint to the specified path.
Panics when there are duplicates in the routing table.
Okay. Add an endpoint. Oh, I think that would require us to understand what an endpoint is.
Implementing this trait.
An HTTP request head. That makes sense to me. You know, you call it, you get a response. Sure. But the word endpoint is getting used here in a way that does not make sense to me. Box endpoint. This is like a collection of endpoints. I guess this is an add data endpoint. Okay. That is add an endpoint to the specified path. There's nest is nest an endpoint to the specified path and strip the prefix.
Strip the prefix. We talked about that. I think stripping the prefix does not apply here. It's just,
So I think
it's some other difference between at and nest that.
Yeah. But just to, like, would this have worked if we'd done API v1 there and then removed prefix path there?
Should work, huh?
Nope.
No.
No love there. Oh, and there's a nest no strip. Did you see that? But do not strip the prefix. So yeah, I think it's about the at versus nest, like you said, and not about add an endpoint, nest an end, nest a endpoint, add an endpoint. Yeah, there's some vocabulary here about adding versus nesting. Up next.
We must have missed some, skipped reading some docs.
Maybe. Nesting versus adding.
What did I just do? How did I? I deleted the page. Docs. Routing.
Maybe.
There are 3 available routes. Routing for path, route domain, HTTP method. Path, something. Route new, add, get, delete, both. Create custom extractors. Responses. All types that can be converted. No, responses is not interesting. Handling middleware. Create features. Modules. Is it the list? Where do we? Is it the listener that we are calling this nest on? It's route. Route. How do we find route here? Route. Add. Get. Nested.
Mm-hmm.
Index. Stir. Hello. Handler. App. Nest. Foo. Route new at bar index. So CLI get foo bar nested no strip. Strip what? Foo at foo bar foo. This is with no stripping?
This looks exactly the same as the previous one.
Well, here's foo is twice.
Oh, there's the difference. Got it.
How is this? I thought this would be with stripping because it's kind of matches this against that and it sees. I don't know why you even want such a feature. I'm confused. It's like, seems like I'm an anti-pattern. It only serve to confuse the author. Do you understand how this is nest no strip? What's the stripping here? What's the stripping?
I agree. It's confusing. It seems like the second one you'd expect to access it at foo bar, right?
Right.
And instead you're accessing it at foo slash.
Yeah. We could also look at the documentation. Nest and endpoint. Well, you read this, right? Strip the prefix.
I think I just don't know what prefix means. I
Pre
think we don't understand what prefix means.
prefix. It's a prefix. Prefix. Prefix is here and attempts to nest an endpoint to the specified path and strip the prefix. Wow. I think if you're trying to like route and handling those errors at runtime, you have a problem.
Yeah. Maybe people are building YAML based routing.
That's it. There's nothing more here. We could
Look at the code.
look at the code.
It's where all the answers are.
Or not, because it seems to work, right? Like what did we find out? Found out that nest works, right?
It feels like nest is what you use if you're gonna like put a whole collection of things. and at is what you use if you're dealing with like an end point. But maybe it's more subtle than that, and I don't understand why we don't get a better error message if it's that simple.
And our nesting is at root, and this determines the prefix, right? Like if I delete this, if I make it this just V, that won't work anymore, right? It'll be found at V. That really determines, there's nowhere else that determines that, right?
I mean, that was our hope, was to not have to say the same thing over and over again. I think we're checking now that we're using nest. Can we still access Swagger? Like, did those two nests play nicely together?
This is not found, and this is found. So I think this is giving us what we want, albeit confused about the framework.
Yes. Can you still access Swagger?
Still access Swagger. Where is that Swagger supposed to be now?
/doc/Swagger.
I want to press enter and it'll go there. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it should. And the UI works. You can do a health check. It says happy things. Hey, it worked.
I'm kind of confused about like when does it execute? Try it out.
I think try it out is kind of a weird experience when there are no URL parameters or anything. It's like pop up a form for me to fill out, but there's no form to fill out.
Oh, there's no form here either.
Yeah, well, we got to fix that.
Funny. Okay. I have no changes. And Roland should be here at some point. When is that?
Oh, we are seeing Roland tonight? Awesome.
Yes, it's supposed to be on the hour.
Okay.
For most countries of the world. Hey, when is your new administration doing away with DST? Would expect Doge to be all over that. Like, there should be no... Wait, are we in DST on or off now? Or, I mean, you.
Never remember which one. But
on is when you get +1.
I would.
What time zone are you?
To get rid of DST. But I don't think it's. I mean, I guess it could happen at the federal level. I think it's a thing that every individual state could choose to do. Or it's a little weird. It's like, we have a state that doesn't change its time. Arizona.
I didn't know that.
Arizona is constant offset from UTC, 24/7, 365.
Nice.
But it's like the Fed is like okay with being. I don't know which one it is, but it's like you're allowed to be on DST all the time, or you're allowed to not be on DST all the time. But like you don't get to choose. It's like you have to be. There's like one that's allowed. And I don't know which one. It's whatever Arizona's permanently on. So yeah, everyone should do it. But I don't know. I have not heard any news about that. What news I have heard makes me not want to pay attention to the news. But I mean, that's true under all administrations. It's just especially true under this particular precedent. All right. We have docs. We have a Swagger UI that's a little confusing, but that's not our problem. So
How
let's
about we see
just,
if we can get the parameter field here to work?
yeah, so we should be getting a 404. I don't know that PR. We do get a 404, but I'm not sure we're getting a 404 for the right reason.
What are we even hitting? What was the what is
I think
that's
the
that
URL
definitely
has a
it's like
literal
literal?
curly braces in it.
Oh, that's broken.
Yeah.
But it's
And
broken in only the documentation, but the implementation's fine.
I don't know. Let's find out. Copy. Here we go.
You should get a. Do we like have a special not found, or is it like PR not found same as any not found? What?
Hard to say. But if we don't have a special one, we definitely should because it makes this stuff very confusing. Um, 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 um.
See what when you hit an endpoint that doesn't exist, what happens?
I think this is what you get. Like,
Oh, you
I mean, it's
tried that.
hard to do an endpoint that doesn't exist because this matches kind of everything depending on
No, but
what
that's
this.
nested.
Oh yeah. Right. Sorry. Thank you. So that's our issue there. This is not
Oh,
slash API slash v1.
are you? Is this up to date? Because the code that I saw, that's not.
Good point.
Is it?
Let me make sure I'm web started. Yep. Last thing I have is from me. Is that right?
I had no change. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I hadn't restarted the server. Who knows? Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Great. All right. Execute.
This time it is a
Invalid
literal,
path
but it's
params. Okay.
cool.
Great. That's better. But we do need to get this thing to actually prompt us for a parameter. So it's doing some amount of massaging, right? Like this is a literal, I mean, this is a 4-character string that looks different from this 4-character string, right?
Yes,
Like
but how does it know
something,
the type?
I would hope that it can deduce it from this and that we don't have to repeat ourselves.
Yeah, should. Funny that it's failing silently about it because
Yep,
I would have wanted it to say something was wrong.
yep, yep. That would have been nice. Huh. Parameters. And what's going on here? This is saying what gets returned is an object with branches, which is a list of strings. Okay. Very nice. And
No.
you can also
Why
go to
can we
400 to
select
400.
the media type over
Well, you
and not
can.
select?
But that's neat that OpenAPI he understands based on your request header. You might get different responses. So that's kind of neat. Okie dokie. Does that basic example have a parameter? No, it does not. Are they called parameters? They are. Oh, are there examples in the source code? Maybe we could look at that.
Usage example as well, right?
Eh, sorry, usage examples?
There are
Where's
use.
that? I'm trying to find
Just,
this folder. That's what I
okay. Okay.
was looking for. Maybe there's an examples in here. Nope. Okay. Is there an examples here? Open API. Yeah. Here we go. Get word parameters.
Well, it's the most basic thing, right? Like everything will have parameters.
Okay. Sure. Let's take a look into it. Maybe that's too. Searching for colons. So create an item. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. ID. And then here it's a path I64. What do we have it as?
That's not what we have.
We
Oh, we
have
do.
path I32. Very similar. Okay.
It's hold on. It looks a little bit different. Certainly, like our argument, our parameter list is like not normal. We it's simply
we're
a
unpacking it.
pattern
Right.
instead of a.
Yeah, whereas here they're doing to do.0. I mean, maybe we should try that in case there's some, like, how is this thing actually dealing with this? Is it looking at the type, or is it doing some AST manipulation?
It shouldn't care, It's
It ideally shouldn't care, but
no, but
since I don't know how to write any of this stuff because I'm not enough of a ruster, is it possible
you
that the
get
implementation of this cares?
not in a way that it would like silently fail. That seems unusual to me, especially in Rust.
Oh,
Because
like it would maybe crash saying I can't find that parameter, but
it
yeah,
would crash saying I don't support this syntax, but
yeah,
that's just
like it's
silly by
doing an
now.
exhaustive pattern match on some AST, and yeah.
This
All
is
right,
this is all figured out by now, long ago.
I wrote it to you. Sweet.
Well, so that's a bonus. Even all this being able to try from OpenAPI as a bonus. I think we should like to do this and try to hit something more
Well, if we care about having a
important.
correct OpenAPI doc,
Sure, we
I
could
can't tell
also
if we have a correct doc.
disable that feature of trying to.
I guess
I
what
don't
I'm
know if
saying is, isn't this just a sign that our JSON, our OpenAPI JSON, is flawed?
it could be.
Because
Let's
like
look at
that
let's look at
UI
it.
is purely a function of the JSON, right? It's not.
Yeah, run. What is it? Menu. Let's look at this. Well, this is loading, but how do I get to? So that's cute. How do I get to the JSON now? Submit the JSON. Shouldn't this like be based on some JSON and knows where the JSON is to give me that?
I bet it does know where the JSON is.
Well, there's nothing here. It's kind of a simple UI.
Yeah,
Doesn't have a footer, no header.
I
It's
don't know. You could look at the
functional.
source. You could look at the network tab. I bet there's a.
Example value schema. Well, we know that we have one, right? Like we know doc
Mhm.
open API.json.
Perhaps. But I think if you look at the network tab or look at the source of the
Think it hits
page,
it?
that'd be my guess. I doubt they're dynamically. I doubt it's getting generated. Oh, like the answer is I'm probably wrong.
Yeah.
This 1.6 megabyte page we just loaded? Woof. Duh.
Yeah, it's embedded. A
Woof.
lot of embedded JavaScript.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Better tools. So there should be, or maybe we're not serving it yet. Yeah, main nest. Wait, where are the nest calls? They are still in lib. You know, I don't see the JSON being served at all.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem.
I mean,
but the ape,
and my mental
this whole
model of
thing,
Swagger is broken. Like, you think it's partially reading from the JSON and partially generated on the backend?
this is the UI. You know, Swagger, like we're missing something here. We have the API service. We called Swagger UI in order to
Yep.
obtain the UI. Where's the JSON coming from, right? Like,
Yep.
let JSON equals API service dot.
Mm-hmm.
What is server? Open API service. That does that even make sense? Server? What? I think that's a
It's probably
when
the
you
word
want.
server, the one that we just removed. Remember, we used to call .server to expose it.
No.
Remember, we had a line of code on line 29. Right after line 29, we deleted it. It used to say .server and then like HTTP localhost 3000.
Mm-hmm.
And then that created a drop down in the UI.
Mm-hmm.
So I think basically .server is just like you take an OpenAPI service, you call .server, and you get a new OpenAPI service that has a server on it. It's like a literal, what is it called? A literate API.
Okay. Summary, contact, license, cookie, external document, spec.
Spec
It's the
sounds
literal string. It's a string.
YAML. There's the
These are spec endpoint.
endpoint.
Hoo-ha. Nest.
And we probably do we just chain that on to line 25?
No.
Spec endpoint return a new OpenAPI service, or does it return a? Nope. Okay, I
create
see.
an
Great.
endpoint.
Cool. So it could be like slash OpenAPI.json.
Who knows? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take this out of here, put it here. I will do this. I will inline this variable and inline that variable.
Cool. And that to do, does it apply to all three of those paths or just the last two?
This doesn't work. Value borrowed here after move. Oh, because this is moved there. Give it by reference then here. It's not possible to give it by reference there.
Can you call these in a different order?
I suppose. I'll give it to you. Got rusty on Rust. Rust got rusty. I'll be right back.
All right. See you soon. Oh. Yeah, I don't know if that's desirable, but reordering does seem to work. Just not getting any parameters.
What's up?
Ooh, no bright ideas here. I looked at the JSON and it's definitely wrong. Like,
The JSON is wrong.
yep, the JSON is wrong.
What does it say?
This is it. You can
What is
see.
this?
Oops,
Oh,
sorry.
pretty print. Thank you.
So,
Paths. That path. Get. There
yep,
is no parameter, is there?
there's a list of responses here. An example of what this should look like is here. Paths, path, get, and then get is an object that has like a summary and parameters.
Yeah.
And here, get is an object that does not have summary nor parameters.
Mhm.
So I was reading through the issue tracker. This one isn't us. It caught my eye because I knew we were using prefix path. But this is about using parameters in your prefix path, which is
Oh.
more advanced than us. But the fact that they're getting that close, like they've documented here, they said, I would expect name to be included. And name, and what's actually happening is there's this colon name, and then I don't really understand. Is the only difference here the curly braces versus the colon? Seems like it is understanding that there are two parameters.
Yeah.
It's just not massaging the path from like poems, colon,
Oh, we don't
form.
get even a single parameter recognized.
But what's interesting is we do get that massaging of colon form to curly brace form.
That's right.
So anyways, I was searching OpenAPI parameters, and I got this far. And I'm just lucky. 7 closed issues. Catch a header parameter. Path parameter is not shown in parameters. Tell me more, baby. Yes, this is us. ID. ID. You should use. Oh no. Ah. So we saw the word path, and that was it. Damn it. Why does this fail silently? Ah. Mob next. That was more foot gunny than I would have expected.
It's more food gunny than Rust should be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, no solution for this, right? Or maybe they do.
Oh, did I not rotate? I thought I did.
Wait, hold
I
on.
just moved the line down. Which, like, I mean, you tell me as a rustling how that smells to you.
That's fine.
Ooh.
That's fine. Okay. So, following API here, this needs to be poem. Well, I don't know that we can get a poem.
Ram.
Param. Path. R. Poem. Oh, 5, 2.
I don't know what you just deleted, but I'm confused. Why do I see PR twice? That's probably me from testing around. Sorry. I was playing around with removing. Yeah, that looks good. Awesome. Okay. Does it work? Yeah, OpenAPI support just has always felt bolted on in every little thing we've played with. This one's the least bolted on feeling, but required, and you can't type it out. Oh, you gotta click try it out. Okay. Or did you already click try it out?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
What's all
Well,
this? Like path,
odd UI.
integer,
I guess you gotta know which type of
dollar.
integer it is and what type of parameter it is, because like you're saying, parameters and query parameters. And it's just not the slickest user interface I've ever seen.
That seems like the correct URL.
Yep.
Okay.
Not found.
We're not going to get anything other than not found here.
Right.
So that works.
Yeah. So I think we can address the to-dos, make sure the tests are passing, and we're done.
What's this chat you sent me?
Oh, not useful anymore. It was just the types that we needed to use for that parameter.
To do.
Yep.
Here's one.
So that shows up on the Swagger homepage. Does it also show up in the JSON?
Good. Did you see the JSON?
I did. I showed it to you.
Right. Where is it? Doc, open API, JSON.
Perfect. Hello world. There it is.
Where? Yeah. So this is description, right?
I don't think it's descriptive.
Title. Info, title, and version. Title of this. Title of this is up to our users, isn't it?
Maybe. I mean, all I know about this thing is it shows up in the Swagger UI.
I think we can hard code this to like our thing until a user asks differently.
I like that. UR tracker.
But this is, I mean, we already have this information. This is in like cargo toml, for example. There's description. Which one? Top one?
I see. We
Great.
don't have to repeat the
Yeah,
anymore.
cargo toml. Or not. There's no description here. It's missing. Oh, but sorry, we're not looking for a description. We're looking for a title. But it's like a human title. We could use this, the name of the package. That's kind of silly.
It seems fine to me. I'm also fine with just string.
Shall we use this?
Sure.
You think we can name this like? And wait, where am I? Am I not in Rust? Something.
Seem to be in a file called quotation mark.
I think that I've saved it.
Yeah, sounds like it. I don't think that did not say unmatched quote.
Oh,
Little risky there. Doesn't know that
darn.
you're using percent as a shell argument.
I don't even. Good. And
Okay. Alrighty.
well, depending on when Roland shows up, then we will be done. But,
Yeah, sounds good.
share screen.
What's this? Yeah. So, what did we just do? It was fixing the path. Oh,
Title.
this title.
Yes. Tiny
Right, that's all we're
27.
trying to do. Okay. So there's some way to get like the
Yeah, I suggested it's an environment variable that you could maybe get this from environment variable. I'm not sure. Could ask an LLM how to do this.
let's get create name,
Yeah.
get the using crates name. That's a little different.
Using, no. Yes.
Can a REST program access metadata? Oh, was that a doorbell?
There. The env. Yeah,
Name of your package. Okay.
that should do the trick. That's what I was starting to type in.
Name. Okay. Let's throw that out. Hmm. There it is. Perfect.
Try version.
What do you want to do for version?
Yeah, version. Same.
Hello.
It's funny.
Oh,
Oh,
there.
Roland? Hey,
Well
man.
done.
Wow.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Very good. I'm a free man. Last time I saw you, I was working for the man. I quit my job 6 months ago. Having a great.
Sounds good.
Um,
I'm doing great as well. Thanks.
and we're still recording, so I don't know. What do you, Roland? Do you want this and publish it, or do you want to do this privately? I don't mind.
I don't mind. I don't know. If you think it's interesting, you can publish it.
Yeah, I'm just not sure the viewers are like happy to like switch from one thing to another,
Right.
but like also the viewers are they do they even exist? Do they have preferences? What are their preferences?
Yeah.
Right? Like I think it's a good experiment to say to keep it simple and say let's put it out there. Why not? It's the same spirit.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, so Jeremy, mob next.
I will do that. Are we switching? Sorry. Is Roland here to work on this project with us, or are we doing next?
Roland, it's Nick stuff.
Okay, done.
It's our infra repos. It's the usage of our usage of flake parts.
Right. And the usage of Home Manager as well as NixOS.
Oh man, yeah, I know so little about Home Manager.
I had this idea to not have files that are, one file could be a Flakepart module, another file could be a NixOS module, another file could be an Home Manager module. But sometimes there are these cross-cutting concerns where you say, I want to have some script that has to do in my Flakepart tooling that has to do with, I don't know, my NixOS machines. So and it should also include a NixOS module, and maybe even sometimes you want a Home Manager thing that has to do with the NixOS. There's some kind of a cross-cutting concern.
Yeah.
And so that
My
makes me
Docker
think,
configuration, which is like a mixture of like a dot file in my home directory and some system-wide
enabling
configuration.
Docker in NixOS.
Yeah.
So, and that makes me think, okay, well, if some Nix files will be like that, then all of Nix files should be that way. And if a Nix
I've
file,
wondered if this is possible or what it would look like. Have you guys started doing this, or is this the idea you're here to explore right now?
I have such files. I have such Nix files.
Oh, okay.
Now I'd like, but I don't know if I like have all the variants. And we wanna just try it out.
Cool.
Well, in this platform, only one can share screen at a time. It would actually be nice to have a platform. It's not going to be just like video, right? Because in video you cannot. There's no multiple stream video where you can select what stream you wanna, or maybe there is, and it's only the video playing apps that don't support that. Because I think video files can have multiple
I think
streams.
there are video formats to contain multiple streams, but
I mean,
most players will only be able to show one.
Like, there's streaming, like Dash is one protocol. That's for different bit rate and different encodings of what is conceptually the same thing.
Right.
You're talking about packing conceptually different things into one metadata container thingy.
I'm talking about a user experience where the user could so we're not going to work on the same thing now. I'm going to edit my infra repo, and Roland's going to edit his, and you might do the same, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
And the user, and we're going to talk about, look here and look there. And it would be nice if we could all share screen at the same time, just like in Jitsi Meet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the viewer, it's not live stream, it's recorded. So the viewer could, it's like the concept, it's different concept, like 3D video, right? You choose where to look.
Yeah.
I mean,
at any given time.
I've seen that with like sports broadcasts and stuff like that. So it's like not necessarily that the video format supports it, because you don't really get the video file if you're watching like sports television online. But you can like switch between different cameras of like a football game or something like that. Like that exists as like an online streaming platform thing.
Right.
I've seen it, like I said, for sports coverage. I guess you could use it for other stuff as well. But like, I don't know. Platforms like that exist for general use, or if they just are like dedicated for stuff like that.
Well, I'm going to just share screen, and if anyone wants to show anything, let me know.
Right.
Can you show me an example of one of these two types of modules files?
I think so. I'm going to mob start because I use it as a tool for working from more than one machine. Okay, let's see. Can I show you such a module? Yeah, I think this one.
Okay.
Catpuccin is a silly yet straightforward example of this. Flake.mod. So this is a flake part module. Flake.modules.
Oh, this is a flake part module that defines modules that you then consume somewhere else.
Yes. Do you know what flake.modules is?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Yes.
I think I do. This shows up in Nick's Flake show, right? These are outputs of your flake, of your infra flake.
So in flake parts, you can put arbitrary stuff on top of in the flake adder set, right?
I think
That's why
so.
you say it'll show up in your next flake show, and it will. Let's try it. Actually, I think I have. No, yeah,
Or does it'll say like unknown or something, right?
right. I don't think it'll dig into it because that's like not. It's not a good
Right.
idea in Nix to arbitrarily recursive into stuff.
You could very quickly.
But flake.modules is a flake parts feature.
Yes, I was aware of that.
Is
I
it
think it
this
even
one?
does that funky thing that we learned about from the author of Flake Parts. You remember that thing we learned about deduplicating modules? And there's like a magic string, like key. I
Mm-hmm.
think this automatically gives them one of those magic IDs.
Because they're not files, they're not paths, then it does
Right.
not automatically happen using the module system core.
Yeah.
It's like an added feature from flake parts.
Yeah,
And
this
so
module
to
makes
use this feature,
deduplication work. Yeah, so that's, wow, it's even documented that it does it. Very cool.
and disabled modules, which I don't know what it is.
That's the thing that shouldn't exist. It's the thing that lets you turn off modules when really we shouldn't be importing all the modules in the first place.
Turn off modules.
I think it's a
Oh,
performance
it's an
optimization.
optimization where you say, yeah, okay, I get you. There's a big problem in Nix OS specifically, where you subscribe to evaluating all the NixOS modules that are in Nix packages as soon as you use NixOS.
Right.
And this is like, instead of solving the problem, it says, okay,
Skip them.
disable all the big list of modules. I never used this.
Me neither, but I was aware it existed.
So my usage is all through here. So all the modules, not maybe not. Yeah, I think all of the modules, whatever type they are that I have, are on this adder set. It's not flake.flake. Why does it document? Was it literally does not document?
On the left-hand side, there's also a modules.
Is this? Oh, yeah, that's what I'm using. So what's this? Flake modules attribute and flake module. So this is Well, all my modules could be flake modules because they are. Maybe I should be using this. This is arbitrary modules. So I should probably convert to use this. Modules. Flake modules attribute and
Well,
flake
I'm a little
module.
confused. You said all your modules are flake modules, but can you flip back to the file?
They're
the
not.
Cappuccine file?
Sorry. I want to say this. I want to say currently I have everything.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not every single variant, but what I want to, the idea that I described a moment ago is that I want every file to be a flake part module. Of course, in a flake part module file, you'd have literals that would, you'd come up with values that are all the other kinds of modules, the NixOS and the whole
a
map.
NixVim module, a flake parts
NixVim
module,
as well.
a NixOS module, yeah. Right. And so I think that means you do need to keep
I
using
will
this
be
thing.
using this, but for the
And you
top
do.
level, I'll be using that.
Or maybe not, because you don't need to expose them as outputs of your flake. You just need to import all of these things. Like your
But it does provide
cappuccine.nix.
some. Yeah, this feature I don't need because I literally am importing it properly with path.
Right.
And this one I also don't need. So, okay, so I'm going to just ignore it. So, flake.modules, NixOS. So will give me and then it merges with whatever I have in desktop. So I'm saying, this is it's kind of saying there will be a module named desktop, whether there is one declared somewhere else or not, but there is, right? Desktop is what I call a NixOS of a certain class, kind of. So maybe this could have a different name. Maybe I could namespace it and say, I don't know, class desktop. Does that make sense? But currently that's not the case, and it will merge, and it'll add imports in this case to say, this adds the Catpuccine and enable Catpuccine in my desktop NixOS module.
Got it.
And this means that this module, every other place that it is declared, it must be an attr set, not a function. Is that correct? I think it's correct because this thing here, this mechanism, like before this thing is even evaluated as an NixOS module, as a module system module, it is evaluated that it's just an attr set and it's merged. Does that make sense? It must be the case.
I don't know enough about the NixOS module system to know. I could imagine it being either way.
It must be a single value that is passed to the, as a here is a NixOS module. Like these things are happening in distinct contexts. These two things, like the merging of this value with all the other constituents that make up what desktop is, that does not have any relationship with. It happens distinctly. It happens separately. It occurs separately from its evaluation as an NixOS module. So this is simply relying on the module system, whatever this is like an option, right? This is an option declared by this thing.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that thing, when it declares that option, could define a merge rule. And the merge rule could be clever.
That would surprise me, but also it won't.
I mean,
but okay, yeah, sure. I don't as soon as
know.
Well, look, we'll run into this soon enough, right? Because some modules need to have arguments.
Yeah.
Right.
Some modules need to access config.
But this is neat. I'd never considered doing what you have here. And I guess like there's no actual glue here between the NixOS module and the Home Manager module, but you happen to include both of them on machines that are desktop machines, or on machines that would benefit from Cappuccino.
It declares that there's a home manager module called home, and this is like my home.
Right. But there's nothing preventing you from declaring a NixOS machine that declares home
Doesn't have
module,
this.
home manager using this, but then forgets to use the NixOS.desktop NixOS module up above.
Yes.
Okay. And that, I mean, that's fine. I'm not saying that's a problem with this. I just
Yes.
am wrapping my head around this.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh, and some NixVim as well. Look at that.
And Nixon.
Very cool. Yeah, this is a perfect example of the class of problem where things really do cut across.
So I'm going to continue doing this. I have this utility I showed Roland. Utility does so. I think there are no changes here. Yeah, no. So I can do nix build drv paths. It's a package I have, and say the outlink is result.original, which I already have git ignored.
Okay.
And this builds a line feed separated list of each derivation path, each DRV path that I care about.
Right.
And it's the DRV path, not the out path. So that will be result.origin. And I think I should add the NixVim here, but it's also my NixVim is in my systems, so maybe I don't need to do that. This already works. I have 3 computers, 3 NixOS configs.
Okay.
It's like the top level. It's like the top level.
Mm-hmm.
And what this allows me to do is make changes that are supposed to be purely refactors.
Got it.
And then prove that they are, or disprove, and then use nixdiff. Like I can use nixdiff on this thing.
Got it. Yeah.
So one place I think I could start is by like breaking things, by saying thou shalt not have any other module before me.
I don't understand.
I have set up these mechanisms for auto loading NixOS modules and Home Manager modules. So if, for example, if I go to Home Manager modules default, I'll see here this file that says
Oh, okay.
Flake modules Home Manager util equals util read modules there. And at the end of this process, I will no longer have multiple usages of read modules, do you? And that's when I know that I'm done. Is that so? That's kind of like the
Cool.
that's one way of doing it, is like break everything and then I do a bunch of work and hope that. But I kind of predict a problem with that, is that because of list value merges, there is like very little chance that we'll end up with a real pure refactor, because you don't get to decide the
order
right
list. Well, you kind of get to, but if you didn't before, you don't know what the order is.
right. So I think it would be wiser for me to try it incrementally, and then each time after each module conversion, I'll take a look at the diff and see. But that's also time consuming.
Yeah, you take the sledgehammer approach and just do it all, and then at the end, like, reboot your system and see if it still works.
I mean, I think you don't need to do the reboot. If those DRV paths are the same, it's the same.
Well, they won't be the same because of list reordering.
Oh, sorry.
Make sense? And that's what
I'm not sure what lists we're talking about.
like environment dot system packages.
Does the order there affect anything? Is that the
Yes, it translates into like all the things that they affect, like the system level path, or all those things.
I don't think it affects them. It's not like everything in system packages ends up in your path in some order. Everything in system packages gets symlink joined into one place. And the order
Well,
of
you
the
could
stuff
try
in
it
that
out.
list.
You could try it out. We could just reorder some packages in that list and see if it affects the DRV paths. But
I should.
I think you might be right that
you're probably in having some file, some system
here.
packages here.
This is home packages.
Yeah.
But this is another valid example, right? If I just do this.
Great. Yeah, so this turns into an array that gets passed to bash, like a bash builder. You're 100% right. It's processed purely in Nix. I think this really comes down to what does symlink join do under the hood? And I don't know how it's implemented.
I think what I'll do to undo this for a moment. Nix build so as configurations dot this one, and out link result dot terminate. What's this? What's the problem here? Yeah, it's not there. It is. This is like config. It's done. Build. Oh. But okay, we have an outlink for that, and now can say, okay, I know this changed, but save it again. Yes, I do want to write it, and then build it into result. Here's an idea. Instead of accepting the order in which the list was provided or like ended up, it is right, like the default merging, and you end up with the order of the literals. And instead of just accepting that, maybe the module system can be smarter and say, well, let's normalize it, because if it doesn't matter, right? If the user did not mean to have an order,
Yeah.
let's sort it, and then when they refactor, they won't get hit by this.
Yeah, that was my thought as well. Like if this happens, can we like make it reorder? Like make it like tell it to sort the list. Like if this does affect the out path, can we like make it force it to sort these lists where it doesn't matter?
I did just check. I'm not sure if you already. I looked away. Symlink join definitely does produce different derivations if you reorder the paths you give it. So you're totally right.
So here's the next div here, and we can see that it's a somewhat a deficiency in the next div tool itself, where it doesn't really tell you, but it has an argument. It has this if I do help, has this line oriented, character oriented, word oriented. Obviously, this is a single line thing, so, and words are not a thing here, so character oriented, I think, does give us, see, most of that thing is,
Wow.
and then you get something that is kind of a little bit
but that's the order of
closer
two things
to
swapping.
helpful.
Yeah, very neat.
Okay, so that was a demonstration of problem.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think we're onto something. I mean, we are not, must not be the first people to think about this.
Yes, I think Symlink join cares about the order of its inputs because it does allow packages to step on each other's toes.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
order, last one wins.
Yeah.
But there is like a bit of a like, oh, well, if they actually don't step on each other's toes, the orders doesn't matter. So, what would be neat, it's like a hypothetical Symlink join prime or whatever, strict, one that doesn't care about the order, sorts them, and asserts that they don't step on each other's toes. And that's like only one tool. That's like a plumbing tool.
I don't think
and
it's
then,
prime. I think it's a backward compatible change.
that would be a breaking change.
How? You're saying,
I mean, there are people
if
out
it's
there who,
not, right, if there's no conflict, then you get the same result.
Yeah, but if there is a conflict, then you don't.
I'm proposing a version of Symlink prime.
If there is no conflict,
like,
then that's already the case, right? Then something, okay.
I guess what I'm
it.
saying is
It changes the behavior for the case that there is a conflict.
At Nick's evaluation time, you can't know if these things are producing outputs that step, like if two different derivations have a Vim binary. But at build time, you can check. And if you find that they step on each other's toes, the only thing you can do at that point is to fail the build. So, I mean, like you could imagine a version of like environment.system packages that behave this way, that like use this hypothetical symlink prime under the hood. But that's like me getting myopic on one specific version of this list reordering problem. I don't know how many other versions of it you're going to run into.
Like when a path is created, like a path, like a
Yeah,
shell path, environment variable path
right.
value, and that does matter. But
Yeah, I mean, that's another example of if there are conflicts, it matters, and if there aren't, it doesn't. But I mean, do you really have any code that's like collecting various folders and stitching them together to produce a path?
yeah. Um, I I think I do, but what I don't. I'm pretty sure environment. Like I'm pretty sure eventually everything needs to be, because a DRV is serializable, right? It is just a string. A derivation is just a string. So eventually, every single list that you have is ordered. Does that make sense? I'm not talking about how it ends up being in your system, although that is also, I'm not sure. It's like that, but that's not the value we're like discussing here. We're discussing the derivation, because that's where the differences occur. So every single list will, the
It's not
order, if it's
every list that's a problem, right? It's only lists that somehow turn into
end up in the
inputs.
derivation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lists that are defined in multiple modules.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is it's not them being in multiple modules that's the problem. It's if they end up getting passed as an input to a derivation. Like
Right.
there are things you can do with lists that are pure and don't get
Mm-hmm.
passed to a derivation, or the list gets massaged into something deterministic. You sort it, or you throw it into an adder set, like map over all the elements in the list and produce an adder set out of it. And those are things that are now like deterministically ordered. And so reordering the list doesn't actually change the paths of any derivations. Because that's what I was proposing with this like hypothetical environment.system packages prime, which would be like a version of it that takes a list of any order, somehow sorts it. I think I'm now just realizing I don't even know what I mean when I say sorting it. I guess you sort based on the stringified representation of I guess the out path of the derivations.
Yeah, like it depends on what is inside that list. If it's like packages, you have some like reasonable thing to order by.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But yeah, I think I am struggling a bit to think of scenarios other than environment.system packages
No, I'm not.
where this is going to arise. So Roland, it sounds like you're not just leaning into Nix as a package manager, but you're doing the full NixOS experience.
Yeah, currently running an Nixos
Oh, you're
system.
daily driving NixOS?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had some driver issues on my Arch system, and I would have had to like set it up either way. So I was like, might as well set up an NixOS.
You were running into something on Arch Linux that was going to force you to use Nix?
No, it would have just forced me to like make a clean install of all my
Oh.
GPU drivers and stuff like that, because like something was messed up. I don't know exactly what. I had some like massive performance issues, and I reproduced, and I fixed it by installing another Arch system, and that worked. So, and I think now I've actually figured out what the issue is. Like for some reason I had some AMD driver installed multiple times, and one of those was the performant ones, and one of those was like the not so performant one. And yeah,
That sounds terrible.
and yeah, it would have been easy enough to fix if I had figured out which was the right driver.
Right.
But
Yeah. So you'll have shit like that happen to you on XOS, but at least you'll be able to undo.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna crash, but Roland, good to chat with you a bit, and I'm so excited you're joining the dark side, or already joined the dark side.
I'm also doing some dark magic with like trying to do stuff with Nix that isn't supposed to be Nix.
Is this the Nix interpreter and Nix that Shahar said you were trying to build?
Yeah.
Oh boy. That sounds like an enormous project.
Well, it's not that like some things you can't do, at least not easily. So I'm just gonna skip them. Like recursive sets and stuff like that is like not that easily possible. So I'm just gonna skip those. But most things are like basic because I'm only I'm only parsing a Nix file and producing a Nix expression. Like I'm not doing anything more of that. So as long as I can produce that Nix expression using things like iter set from list or something like that, or list to iter set, I don't know what the function is called. It's fine.
Okay. This is a Nix learning opportunity, or you have a reason to want this?
I want to embed Nix code inside of non-Nix configuration files.
Mentioned that, yes. Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you want applications that understand
No,
this
like
their
my
config?
NixOS configuration should be able to load like a something.toml, and inside that something.toml, I want to do string interpolation that calls Nix stuff, like packet.
So it passes to some binary or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah,
And I assume
have-
you know the way that people would normally handle this. They would put the TOML file in a Nix file rather than the other way around.
Yeah. But that's not how I want to do it.
Thanks to the beauty of LSP language injections, you can still have your syntax highlighting when you do stuff like that.
Yeah, but can I add? Yeah, but the TOML LSPs don't particularly work well that way and stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't get a. Sorry, I used the wrong term. I said LSP. I meant tree sitter language injections.
Yeah, no, you get the syntax highlighting. Yeah, that you get, but you don't get full-on LSP.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I guess depending on what your format's going to look like, it still might not be a valid TOML file, right?
Well, if it's inside a string, I can put whatever I want inside a TOML file.
Yeah. If it's inside quotes, what if the thing has quotes?
Yeah, well, that will be an issue. But
yeah, I mean, I guess most Nix paths, which is probably what you're trying to produce, are not going to have any interesting characters in them. They don't have spaces or anything. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Cool.
And currently what I'm doing is I'm producing a derivation and then like re-importing, and then using import to re-import. Like I'm extracting the Nix code, putting it in a file, and then re-importing that file.
So-called import from derivation.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, well, this is a great way to learn a lot of Nix very quickly, I'm sure.
Right.
Sweet. Well, I'll see you both later.
Bye.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Bye.
Right. So, how's your list sorting going on?
I'm still planning my attack. Because one thing I kind of don't want to do is move existing modules into the root of the repo, and then I would have to add them to this ever-growing list of imports, explicit imports here. No, I want to, at the root level, I want to auto-load all the modules. But then
Right.
it means that what's the criteria? Obviously, if something doesn't end with .nix, it's not a candidate. But there's also this directories, and then that's already supported for a dot for a default .nix inside a directory. That'll be handled. I think every other extension will just be ignored at the moment.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
But then, so that means every .nix file must be a flakepart module.
Oh, you're moving them all inside the root directory. I wasn't fully following. So you don't have a like source or modules or something folder inside your thing.
Right. I have
That
some
was what
source
I
code.
was.
Like
Yeah, like my fault would have been to have like a source or modules or lib or something folder and put everything in there. So that like the root of the repo, like because in the root of the repo there's like a lot of like just piping stuff like envarc or git ignore or the flag.nix and flag.log, which are like not like somewhat separate from that, the README. Like I feel like the root of the repo contains like enough stuff that I wouldn't put like 20 additional Nix files in there.
you're advocating against too many files at the root of the repo. You're saying there's a README, license, flake log, the flake.nix that is different. There's maybe a git ignore, envarc.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah, and then there's like .github and
So if I have a modules directory, there I can have a long list of.
yeah, that would what I'd do. Like if you like most like programming projects will have like a source directory. Like Rust has a source and Java has a source, and I guess in C it's not necessarily that you have a source, but you usually have like it's somewhat an agreed upon pattern to put all your stuff inside a.
I'm adopting it. So, but the first change I'll do is kind of strictly that. Let's take all of these. Oops, I didn't mean to. Yeah. This, that, this, that. These are all. This is not. This one cannot be. Util cannot be a flakepart module. That's why it's not.
Because you use it to declare all the flakepart modules. Yeah.
So all these go in here.
Yeah. Which is another reason to move the modules in there so that you like immediately know which is which. Like you know all the things in modules are flakepart modules.
So now this imports won't have.
You could probably use your utils now.
But also this directories. This is also true for them. This It's just a flakepart module. This is a flakepart module. This is a flakepart module. Whatever is here, it doesn't have .next.
Right.
And that's okay. That is okay. That's correct.
Yeah, like you're migrating from those to your new modules. Yeah, makes sense. Well, the thing is, like, is configurations also gonna be merged, or isn't that still a completely separate thing? Like not like because like all like home and like NixOS are like both declaring like generic, quote unquote, generic configuration snippets, but then you're using configuration to like decide which of all of these configuration snippets you're using. But I guess that doesn't really make a difference, like on the what it is side.
Yeah.
It's like how it's used, what it's used for. It's not like, yeah, this is a syntactically different thing. It's just used differently. Yeah.
Right. So if all Nix files are in, now we say not all Nix files because we have flake.nix, which is actually inherently different.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, then I'll tell you that flake.nix is actually like a stricter subset of the Nix language. I'm not sure if it's everywhere in this file, but obviously it has to be an adder set, and like this inputs cannot have arbitrary expressions. I think it's like only adder set literals or something.
Right.
And I'm not sure about the rest of it. I obviously in the outputs function, I don't think it's restricted in any way. So if every single Nix file inside modules directory is a flake part module, then it is a flake part. That's clear, but like how do you navigate it? How do you look at this? Like how do you know from the name of each file what it is? And there you could say, well, maybe we can have a like a prefix system where you can have dot notation, perhaps, like arbitrary prefixes or suffixes. Like if something is represents a certain NixOS configuration, maybe you can call it like the name and then dot and then NixOS config. Maybe you'd have one flake part module that declares all of the NixOS configs because it's like smaller. You know, that top level thing is small enough in which you say, oh, if this config, which is a desktop, and I don't know, it's
Yeah, like currently my configurations are like two files, one defining all the drives and one defining the rest. Because the rest is just importing a bunch of modules. For some, like the state version, the host ID, and then like some extra arcs for my Getty because I'm experimenting with that still. But probably that will move into the module as well. So in the end, I only have my drives and the modules it uses.
What are drives?
Oh, my drives of my system, like which disks
Storage devices.
amount there.
Right.
And some of my systems have like 7 different drives or something like that. So it made sense to move it in a separate file. But honestly, it's like 20 lines, so it might as well be the same file. One thing I was wondering, but I guess it's not really possible, if it was possible to make directories produce quote-unquote sub-modules, like where if you put something, like if you have like a directory configurations and something inside that, like, I don't know, test.nix, then...
Sorry, I need it slower. Say again, please.
So if is it possible to define, like I don't think it's a native feature, like you would need to implement it yourself, where if a directory doesn't contains Nix files, you import those Nix files, but then you add like another layer to the paths of those Nix files. If they return an attr set, like, so that if the directory is called configurations something, then the output of all the attr sets of the Nix files inside that configurations directory, all the values will be configurations dot whatever they say.
Huh. Well, what's the distinction? What's the distinction in that case? The fact that it's
the fact that I don't need to put the configurations dot in all the files inside the configurations directory. Like kind of like how packages work in many other programming languages. Where like,
do you really want that? This is an alternative to having multiple files?
Well, to having to define the full path of
having to define
each module inside.
Can you demonstrate?
I'm thinking about how to.
Do you want to do this now, or if it's not necessary, you can
No,
focus
it's not
on...
necessary now. We can.
Okay.
I can come back on that later. Right, you probably don't want your import modules returns an error set. You probably want to change that to just return, like you basically just want to read dir, right? A read dir that returns the paths. You don't want.
Where do you think this error is?
Go back into your flag nix. I think it's here. Like you want to only get the values of those modules. You don't want name. Like currently this returns an attr set, right? An attr set of.
Does it?
I think so. Look at read modules dir.
We want to look at how it's used. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. It's well. No lib here. Oh, another lib. Well then, I'll use parentheses. Wow. I actually built DRV paths. That's wild. Diff. Slightly smarter. Oh. Oh yeah. That worked. That was pure. Mhm. I have run into something that you will probably run into as well.
What is it?
Uh, this generation manager directory, I just moved it from here. It was under home manager modules.
Right.
Generation manager is a small Rust program that wraps around whatever. I don't even remember what it wraps around, but it lets me look at the generations, the NixOS generations, and delete them using a more straightforward CLI. Now, converting it from a home manager module to a flakepart module, I realized here is the packaging it of this is a typical trivial build Rust package. PKG's Rust platform build Rust package, pname version, source. This is a new thing. Now, in order to obtain PKGs, I have to be in per system.
Right.
But flake.modules.homemanager.home.packages is not something that can be declared under per system, I suppose. It's not a per system thing.
Yeah.
I think I may be able to work around this by saying I don't want to work around this. But if I wanted to work around this, I could say, well, maybe this generation manager should be available at a system. Like it's not a home thing. Like every user of the environment.system packages of like, I don't know, desktop or whatever. You could do that, but I don't want to do that. I want to, well, for one, I want the diff to be 0, right?
Right.
Could be a pure refactor. So I think this is where we get like theoretically, is this even like, oh, I see. This is where it needs to be a function, like home. Instead of being an adder set, it needs to be, and there. So it's correct that this is at the top level, and then okay, this part be commented out here. Home. Now we'll see whether this is possible at all, right? This PKGs and some other stuff, and then we use the PKGs from the home manager module, in order to say.
You don't even need per system then, right?
Sorry?
You don't even need per system then anymore, right?
That's correct. This will be here. This seems valid to me. The only question is whether this thing will merge. But I think so. One way is to see whether it will merge, but another thing to try, because I think in my case at least it works, that if I just call it generation manager, that will just work as well.
Yeah, I have an issue. I'm not quite sure what causes it. If you taking a look at it in a moment.
Yeah, let's just so as is what's going on here. Mix diff. You see this clever diff I did here?
Yeah.
This flag print outpaths will, in this case, print one outpath because I'm building just one thing.
Right, so it can diff directly against the original.
It seems to work, which is surprising. I don't know whether it's like, because I'm also concerned it might be overriding something, clobbering something. So we could do a mix diff this to that and see, is it just a reordering? Wait, that's not helpful. What is that? The generation manager itself is like somehow affected. It's not the same. How is that? What? That possible? What's different? What? Maybe source? Oh yes, the source did not filter out the default.nix file. See, this is a good example of filtering.
Right.
This thing creates a store path that will have all the files here, which include the files that I just changed, the fo.nix.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fix that. Did you ever do filtering?
Yeah, I remember we did some filtering when we were working on PR tracker. The Nix modules there.
And I want to do it in main because I want it to be, it has to be a pure refactor. I can't start changing things, right? All right, but let's go to your issue. What's the issue? You want to share screen or no need?
Yeah.
Okay. Here.
So I moved all the stuff inside a modules directory. And
wait, I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to. Why now it does not let me right click here? Come on, browser. What?
Right clicking is overrated.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Go on. I can see well enough.
All right, so after moving all the files inside a modules directory and adjusting this to be like, yeah, read that directory and then append it to the
I have
imports.
pipe operator as well. I forgot I have that.
Trying to build it, I get this error message, but I'm not quite sure I understand.
String directory doesn't represent an absolute path. Where do you have that string?
I don't have.
I can tell you where that comes from. Most likely.
Right.
Read dir, built-in's read dir returns an adder set with
with strings.
The value.
So I need to make that right.
So you want adder names perhaps? How is that? Yeah.
Right, enter names. You're right. That didn't seem to make a difference.
Because it's not an absolute path.
Right. So, all right. So now at least I have a correct thing here. Right. So now I need
Don't you just want to copy paste mine?
I could.
Is it different? You want to write it?
No, it's not different, I guess. But it's also probably real short because isn't all I need to do this?
I'm going to paste you a link. I mean, you know where to find it.
Yeah.
But in this studio chat here. It's 4 lines. It has some filter. I have also a filter where you can, if it starts with an underscore, then it's omitted. Apparently I have that. And you also need to remove the suffix, and you need to concatenate the path so it becomes an absolute path. I suggest you copy paste instead of.
Right, you need to. Do you need to remove a suffix? No, you don't. Not in this case, but yeah. So, all right, it's this is. Yeah, I forgot that I need to concatenate it with modules.
IFD.
Oh, right, it is. Yeah, because I still haven't migrated to my new Nix parsing solution. How do I? Oh, right, because I did Nix Flake show. Yeah. But if I do this, it should work now. And I probably can. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay with this one liner here.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's fine. Because like I don't actually need to do the whole like removing the suffix and stuff like that, because that's for when you want to create an address set. But I would just throw away half of that code anyway.
Yeah, that makes
And I think
sense.
I have that thing somewhere lying around anyways.
I
Because
probably will end up something also similar to what you just did, like less. I'm already not, in one case, not using it in the way that it was intended.
Like this, I have this lying around as well, which basically is more or less exactly the same code you have. It's just reading the file, the directory. Anyway, yeah, okay, so it seems to work now for me. That was my mistake.
Cool.
All right.
I'm going to just put it in a subdirectory. This doesn't make sense. There's one file that I don't want.
Just filter out that file.
Create. Take this. Put it here. And that's it. I mean, I still need to do source. Create. That makes more sense than filtering something out. At the moment, back. Now I expect it to be different because this is input. It's like a regular input address derivation.
Right.
Yeah, looks good. Here's an example of source filtering being always important, not only when you like realize that it's
Yeah.
important. Okay. First module successfully converted. Yeah. Did you convert a module yet?
I'm currently migrating to the different, what's it called? Like the modules dot home manager, modules dot nixos thing. I still had the nixos modules, so I'm changing that right now.
Oh. The flake.modules, right?
Yeah.
No, so many modules.
The option flake.modules is defined multiple times, so it's expected to be unique. What? Mind taking a look?
You have to import the thing. This is a
Oh, right. So inside flake. So where do I import that?
this anywhere you want.
Inside make flake. Okay.
Yeah, that would. I have it in flake.nix. Seems to make sense because it's like a top level concern about everything is structured in Flake.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I didn't want to do any switch. I wanted to do. Right. Yep, seems to work. Thanks.
Ooh.
I don't have difference here.
Yeah, that's trivial. If my problem is having to make many trivial edits, then I will listen to music and make the trivial edits.
So I think I just ran into the paths order, packages order problem.
Mm-hmm.
When I changed to the flake dot modules.
Want to show?
Yeah. Kind of annoying that in Chrome you have to like click 4 times to share your screen.
In Qt browser, you don't. Started using Qt browser recently.
Oh, and that's also Chromium based, so it works here. All right. Yeah, like primary browsers Firefox, so but that's not Chromium based, so Riverside complains.
Right.
Right. So I don't know why this color is so bad for div. But yeah, for example, here, this is now up here instead of down there, but it's the same path. Like it's exactly the same path. It's just at a different position.
Yeah,
For some
these
reason,
seem like
swapped place with Firefox.
yeah.
And I would expect that this giant blob up here is similar.
Try character oriented. See what you get.
Try what?
There's a flag can add to see help. Add help to the end of this. See line oriented, character, word oriented. Try character oriented. I think by default it's line. Now you can scroll up and you have a smaller one. It's shorter. And it still sucks. And this is one point where an aspiring Nix user could make a contribution to somehow make this a better div.
Yeah.
This is digging into like uncertainties because there's nothing telling you that this is actually a I don't know. It looks like JSON from here.
Yeah, but you don't know because it's inside a string. Yeah, but like looking at it, yeah, it's pretty clear to me that like at least some of those are just path reordering. Like I can't tell for all of them. I didn't check all of them, but like at least the first 4 of them are just like reordered paths. Interestingly enough, it's always Firefox that is swapping places. But yeah, that seems to be the issue.
I think a reasonable implementation could be, well, let's say most of these are JSON. Well, then, just try to parse something as JSON, and then if if it works, display the div as JSON, and also print. I guess this is JSON. Nixdiff is implemented in Haskell, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'm not pressuring you to do it. We might have a viewer that.
Yeah, let's just rewrite it in Rust. As all
rewrite it in Rust.
Yeah. But yeah, so problems with the software side, that seems to the reason seems to be that your paths are like not changed order.
Yeah,
packages.
I would agree. It's at least it very much looks like the same length.
Yeah.
That's good.
So did you find a way to remedy this problem earlier when you were looking into it?
In my case, character-oriented significantly improved the situation.
No,
in your case, it was.
No, I meant in the sense of getting it to not be different.
Oh Lord, I did not.
All right.
These are controllable from the usage of the module system because you can specify not just when you provide the value, you can wrap it and say there's these helpers that say make first, make last, or
yeah,
it's all number based, so it's like a weight based system, and you can try to tinker with it while you're doing a refactor. You can add these pointers, these weights,
to try to force it to stay in that arbitrary order it was before. That
exactly.
doesn't
and then
seem...
at the end of the refactor, when everything seems fine, you can remove all of the weights and let it fall back to wherever it will.
I could also say this is still good. I'm just gonna make this the new good and continue from here.
That's what I just did.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
think that's what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm. You know, the problem with this can be solved in like a deeper layer where you say, why does it in the derivation, why does it end up as a list anyway? What's listy about this? But it is, right? It's there are precedence rules to many things.
Yeah.
It's like you say I don't care, and then it's like don't care doesn't really translate. Don't care gets ironed out in a certain way, and then like I think there's like another way of looking at this, which might somehow make progress, and it's this topic I've been looking into. It's about comparing um, configurations, module system configurations after they've been evaluated, but before any derivation has been built from them. There's a discussion on Discourse. If you want, I can send you the link.
Right. Yeah, sounds useful. So now that so now I would be writing my first of these new modules. So in here, instead of like I wouldn't get modules packages up here. What I do would be like home modules dot home manager, right?
Flake.modules.
Right, Flake modules
Home
dot home
manager, and now
manager.
name your module.
Right.
Don't forget the dot dot dot.
Mm. Right, so I don't even need that up here. Or well, where would I take self? Self in here or self from up there? Doesn't matter.
Well, think about it this way. With this pattern, we don't need to pass self into the nested module evaluation, the
Right,
nested
so
evaluations.
right. If I take self up there, it's from the original invocation of Flake parts.
The top level. Mm-hmm. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah. Right, and now I can declare a flag dot modules dot nixos. And this one will just be where's the firewall defined networking?
Well, you have an existing module. Take a look what you did there.
Yeah.
Is this a public repo?
No. It's a private repo. I have sent you the link, but it's a I think it's that. Yeah. I think there's even a singular version of that one.
In this case, if it's a single option, you can even flatten it out completely.
Yeah.
Which, like, it looks funny, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're digging into things that are different in nature.
Yeah. Right. So this should work now.
But you can, if you can merge flake modules to be one thing if you want.
True, I could. Yeah, yeah, I might make a point. So now I can. I need to fix
Did you
my
save
typo.
like the new good?
Yeah. Modules. Now I could do div this. No. Oh, great. Oh, right, because I didn't save that file. Don't ask why landmouse was defined in this way. Unexpected summer. What? Right, that seems to work. Why is that different again?
Could be just list. That's not just list.
Why is...
You're missing
Yeah,
this
I'm missing
IP
the
tables
format.
invocation.
Yeah, this did not work. Networking firewall allowed you
Is
to
this
keep on.
module imported?
No, it is not. You're right. What?
Uh-huh. This import modules. Oh, no, that's different.
That's the wrong file. Right here. This should now import landmouse.
Well, you know, it should it?
Well,
It's explicit to that
I don't know. I don't particularly like that it's explicit here, but
because it doesn't need to be. Like,
right.
because in that flake module, the new one,
Yeah.
the landmouse one,
Yeah.
you could say, I want this to apply to that particular machine.
Right. Right. Yeah. I want like basically both of these, like the Helm Manager module and the landmouse module to apply to that particular machine.
It appears that that's possible.
How would I go about doing that?
Does that machine have a named module that represents it?
In NixOS, it has no, not necessarily. It only has a configuration currently. Yeah, it's a configuration that is loaded by hostname.
So you're saying that there's some private code in that the file that has that configuration. There's a module that is not reachable.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a module that's not reachable. I don't know what that means. It has this. This is the configuration. No, that's not the configuration. That's a default configuration for all. It this is the configuration. Or what do you mean with module? Oh, this module is inside of the configurations. Like this is not a flake path module. It's
It's
inside
not a
of
flake parts module, and it doesn't reach anywhere except for being evaluated into a config.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think a refactor could be, and that's what I think that's what I'm going to do, is that, well, configs and modules are different things. But they can both be, everything can be declared at the flake parts in a flake part module.
Right.
So I think if you want a file or a flake part module to represent some configuration, then it should declare the module that is of that, the module of that configuration, like the primary module, the entry point module of that configuration. And that's what you have here, which is this what you have here.
Right.
And also, you gotta somehow say, but currently you and I both have a similar system where it does this, because there's a configuration is evaluated using a lib.nixos system function.
Yeah.
So that needs to be figured out. Maybe that will not be the abstraction anymore. Maybe that will not be there anymore. Maybe can we see what that does? Because I think that's a tiny glue code. Can you show us what that is? Where your nixos system call is?
Yeah.
So these special args won't exist anymore. That'll not be a thing. And the modules will also not be a thing because they will be handled by the module system, by things importing each other, right? Like by the thing on this automatic import line not necessary. The host name is pretty much the only thing that's left here. System is, where does it come from? I think that's system. Oh, that's okay. Okay. Yeah, that's not necessary. That's what I would do is what I described. Do you want me to repeat that? Because it was kind of all over the place.
I think I got the gist. I do
basically
have to...
that this file that we're looking at will not be necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, and the configurations basically declare themselves.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Right, and I mean, most of this could be moved inside like a utils thing that provides a function. So, like, if parts of
I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, like if there was anything left at the end, I could move that inside a lib function. But I'm not. I agree that most of this will be gone, and then the question is the reminder still worth it? So probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. System you cannot forget to set, because that's literally actually where the heck is even system? I think it's system wherever it is, right? Like it's in that host name, right? Like that particular host, you have system, because it's like a system specific thing. So if you wanted like to see what is the bare minimum NixOS system that successfully evaluates, the only thing that is required is Nix packages.host platform equals that string. So you can't forget that. And networking host name, you shouldn't forget that. But if you do, you find out eventually that you forget that you've forgotten it. So
yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. All right, I'll have to head out now, but hopefully we can speak soon on this.
yes,
Okay.
I consider this brilliant work. I'm happy that we finally got around to this. I'm glad that we have discovered that it's possible and it's not terrible, except for just some manual labor.
Yeah.
So I will stop the
and the
recording.
diffing, and the
Yes.
diffing is somewhat annoying sometimes.
Having the workflow, having to like even wait for evaluation, that's
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
And the diffing is definitely the worst part of it.
Yeah. All right.
But you can't do any of this with any other. Like if we compare this, step out of it, compare this NixOS to another thing, it's not even a thing. It's not even equivalent. I'll stop
Yeah.
the recording. Thank you
All
for
right.
watching.